The quickest way for the Tennessee Titans to turn things around is to fix the pass rush. I'll explain why on today's edition of Locked On Titans.
You are Locked On Titans, your daily Tennessee Titans podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to the Locked On Titans podcast. I am your host, Tyler Rowland, Titans fans. Today's edition of the Locked On Titans podcast is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new FanDuel customers can get $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. On today's show, I'm going to tell you why the quickest way for the Titans to turn things around is actually pass rush, not the quarterback position. I'll go over some silly fears that folks have about Abdul Carter, and we'll finish with Aaron Rodgers finally actually free from the New York Jets. I'll rehash my thoughts on Rodgers as an option for the Titans. Before we dive into all of it, I do want to thank you for making the Locked On Titans podcast your first listen each and every day. Remember, Monday through Friday, Tennessee Titans content all year round, always for free. Make sure that you get subscribed, stay subscribed. It's your team every day here on the Locked On Titans podcast. Speaking of every day, shout out to my everydayers out there tuning in Monday through Friday. Couldn't do it without you guys. And if you aren't an everydayer, you need to be one because there's breaking news all the time this time of year. The Titans have a ton of big decisions ahead. I'm going to have a daily show up all off season long. Going to have bonus episodes for breaking news. Nobody covers the team as comprehensively as I do here on Locked On Titans. So make sure that you get subscribed, stay subscribed. Follow me on Twitter at TicTacTitans. Follow all my socials at Locked On Titans as well. But with all that being said, I know that this is controversial on its face. If you read on paper, the quickest way to turn the Titans around is fix the pass rush, you would instantly be like, no way, that doesn't make sense. The quickest way to turn a team around is to get the quarterback, right? You get a quarterback. We see with Washington. We see with Houston, all that. You get a quarterback, and you immediately can turn things around. Well, let me tell you that situation and circumstance absolutely does matter here. And in my opinion, if you want the Titans to be a much better team next year and to actually turn things around a little bit and get going in the right direction, then it's the pass rush that you want to address right away. And my thought on that, there's a couple of different layers to it, but my number one thought here is, where are the Titans actually decent right now? Well, the defensive side of the ball is far ahead of the offensive side of the ball. No doubt about it. So in my opinion, if you're looking for immediate improvement, in the quickest way for the Titans to improve and turn things around, it's to double down on your strength. It's going to be very difficult to turn such a weakness as the Tennessee Titans offense all the way into the strength that it needs to be to turn this team around on its own. You know what I mean? The gap to go for the offense to be the driving force of this team getting better, it would have to go so far in terms of production and quality, whereas the defense was number one in the NFL for much of the season. The defense had its bad performances and had its, against Indianapolis, the second game on the ground. There are performances in there where the defense was not very good as the injury started to take toll, and especially in that Colts game, they just ran down their throat. The linebacker play was so bad, I admit. But the reality is, for most of the season, the Tennessee Titans defense was pretty good. So to me, if you want the Tennessee Titans to make a massive improvement in 1 year, the way to do that is to have a dominant pass rush. Pass rush travels. Whether your rookie quarterback is having a good or a bad day doesn't matter with the pass rush. Now, we start getting into the playoffs and you play good teams and all that, then obviously things are a little bit different. But during the regular season, if you want the Tennessee Titans to win more games and turn things around, their defense is the path to doing that. It'll be much easier to create a defense that gives you the ability to win more games than it will be to create an offense that massively improves your chances to win games this year. That is my clear opinion, which is why I want to draft Abdul Carter with the number one overall pick, or trade back and get Abdul Carter. He's my number one prospect for the Titans this year. But also because look at what is already on the roster. That's the other part of this. It's not just in the total here. It's look at individual sides of the ball and where the Titans have to go. So what would have to happen for the Tennessee Titans to have an elite defense next year, a defense that's so good that it gives them a chance to win games? The Titans would need to improve their pass rush. We could say that the defense was good, and the defense was good last year, but the worst part of that defense, outside of the linebacker play, but you guys know how I feel about linebackers. Just get average linebackers, and you'll be fine if your secondary and your pass rush is good. That's what matters on defense. Secondary and pass rush. Offensive line and quarterback. You know what I mean? Like, we could get a running back somewhere else. We can get a linebacker somewhere else. It'll be okay. But for me, if you look at what the Titans already have on the defensive line, and you have Harold Landry, who's a good secondary rusher. He's not an elite Nick Bosa, Myles Garrett, TJ Watt, Max Crosby guy, but he's a good secondary rusher. You have Jeffrey Simmons, who is a tank in the middle. You have Arden Key, who, listen, Arden Key is not an every down rusher. I've been saying for 2 years now that Arden Key is a good third rusher if he was a rotational pass rusher who was not asked to be a starter down in and down out. You got Arden Key. Arden Key can rush from the inside as well because of his length and size. And then you had Abdul Carter, the best pass rusher in the draft, the best prospect in the draft, in my opinion. And I'm not alone in that opinion. There are a lot of people, national media, national scouts, things like that would say Abdul Carter is the best player in the draft as well. So to me, again, you add a rookie quarterback to this offense and say you make additions in free agency. You add a Trey Smith. But you're not going to be able to make a great offensive line and then make great weapons and add the quarterback all in one season. You're not going to be able to fix the offense quick enough that if you want to win games, if your goal is to quickly go from 3-14 to a respectable football team, the quickest path forward for the Titans is to take the pass rusher and to try to make your pass rush absolutely unstoppable. Because to take the quarterback and think that that would turn things around quickly, well, you need to fix the offensive line. You would need to give that rookie quarterback more weapons. I'm sorry, but the Titans aren't good enough on the offensive line, even with free agency, or good enough at the weaponry positions on offense through free agency in the back end of the draft to support a young quarterback enough to make the Titans win games. Maybe 2 seasons from now, not this year, but the next year after, maybe the quarterback now is ready to win you games. But if you're interested in winning games as quickly as possible, then creating a dominant pass rush is the best way to do that. And with Jeffrey Simmons, Tavondre Sweat, with Harold Landry, with Arden Key, with the secondary pieces the Titans have, Abdul Carter is the way to accomplish that. And again, I talked about bringing in another free agent edge rusher for a cheap deal, like a Baron Browning, for example, with a little bit of upside. Now you're really cooking on the pass rush. You bring back Sebastian Joseph Day, who had some good moments last year. Now you really have a good pass rush rotation to get at quarterbacks. And that is how the Tennessee Titans are going to win games, not going with a rookie quarterback who, no matter what the Titans do, is still going to have a decent offensive line at best and below average weapons on offense at best as well. But with that being said, I'll tell you why there's a stupid Abdul Carter fear going around that's absolutely silly. Do want to let you guys know that today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. When the game tips off, the NBA action is just getting started, and there's no place to get in on it like FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. With FanDuel, you can place live bets throughout the game. So even if you miss the opening tip-off or you want to bet a fourth quarter comeback, you can stay in the action. And if you're looking for a bigger payout, you can even combine your live bets into a same-game parlay. I love using FanDuel's live betting feature because it keeps every moment of the game exciting, whether I'm backing my team for a late-game rally or I'm picking a player to hit a clutch 3 like Luka Doncic, maybe. I never feel like I missed my chance. Plus, the app is easy to use, and when you win, you get paid instantly. Right now, new FanDuel customers can get $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. Again, that's FanDuel.com for your shot at $150 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Titans fans, let's continue today's edition of the Locked On Titans podcast. We talked about why I think adding a pass rusher and trying to bolster the pass rush is the quickest way to making this team win games next year. Now I want to talk about the best way to bolster that pass rush, and it's by drafting Abdul Carter out of Penn State. And look, there's a new method that the quarterback drafters in the fan base have been using to make quarterbacks seem like the better path and try to put down Abdul Carter. And it's Abdul Carter being an NFL fan. Before I dive into it, I do want to thank you for making Locked On Titans your first listen each and every day. Remember, Monday through Friday, Tennessee Titans content all year round, always for free. Make sure you get subscribed, stay subscribed. It's your team every day here on the Locked On Titans podcast. But so obviously there's a divide in the fan base right now. You know, people who want to take quarterback, people who want to take either Travis Hunter or Abdul Carter. That's basically the split. People who want trade down to get Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter mixed in there as well. Usually if you're a trade down person, you tend to side with the defensive guys. Like if you're an independent, you tend to lean towards the Abdul Carter, Travis Hunter side. Most of the people who want quarterback in the draft aren't willing to risk trading down in the draft and still trying to get the quarterback. I agree with that. If the Tennessee Titans want one of the quarterbacks, take them at number one. Do not play around with your food and risk losing a guy that you really, really like to try to be greedy and pick up some extra picks. I want the Titans to trade down. I want the Titans to go with one of the better non-quarterback prospects. But if you love one of the quarterbacks, do not play with your food. Like I saw someone propose that the Titans trade down to number 3 with the Giants and still pick Cam Ward. I'm sorry, but if you like Cam Ward enough to take him at number 3, you cannot risk losing him. And the other way, if you're willing to risk losing him and dropping down to 3, you don't like him enough to take him at 3 anyway. So that's how I feel about that. But the quarterback pushers are going with a new tactic to try to diminish Abdul Carter. And it's that he's a Philadelphia Eagles fan. He has said before he wants to play for the Eagles. He roots for the Eagles. He was excited that they won the Super Bowl. All of that. So now what people are doing is they're saying, well, you can't take Abdul Carter because in 4 or 5 years when he's a free agent, he's going to the Eagles immediately. He's going to leave and go to the Eagles. And I'm sorry, but I think that is an insane thing to worry about. That is, you're telling me that you would pass on the best player available to you because he's a fan of an NFL team? Because he wore an Eagles jacket when they won the championship? Is that what we're saying now? Because I promise you that Abdul Carter is not the first, nor will he be the last to have a favorite NFL team. Like, I just wonder, do people think that when you're 6 years old and you first start playing football, that you say to yourself, well, I'm going to go to the NFL, so I can't have a favorite NFL team because, you know, the fans of the team that I get drafted to, they won't like that. Do you think that all of these players say, I'm a big Tennessee Titans fan, I'm going to play for the Titans the first chance I get? Tom Brady is a San Francisco 49ers fan. It's well known. He is a big 49ers fan. Did he ever play for the 49ers? No. Like, just think about it logically. It just doesn't make any sense as a deterrent to draft Abdul Carter to say that he's a big Philadelphia Eagles fan. Will he play for the Philadelphia Eagles in his career? Potentially. Seems like seems like a logical move a veteran would make at the end of his career. But here's the thing. Will the Eagles have cap space at that time? Will Abdul Carter even want to make that move? What if he comes to the Titans? He's one of the best edge rushers in the entire NFL. He buys a house. He starts a family. He gets a big-time contract. He's intentionally going to turn down life-changing money prior to year 4, prior to year 3, prior to year 5, so that he can hold out that entire time and make sure that he goes to Philadelphia. Think about what a player would have to do to actually do that. When has that ever been something that you've ever heard of? Like, it's insane. It's insane. Again, do people think that none of these NFL players have a favorite team? If NFL players did everything in their career based on getting back to play for the team that they liked growing up, then it would be obvious that if a Tennessee Titans fan comes to the Titans as a player, the Titans social team puts that everywhere. Everybody knows. So, I just think it's a silly thing. And I made a meme the other day. I don't remember if I posted it yet, but I will. I'll post it when I post this episode on all the socials and stuff. But to me, anybody who is realistically arguing with you that Abdul Carter is a Philadelphia Eagles fan, therefore the Tennessee Titans should not draft him because you may lose him in 5 years. In 2030, you may lose him. To me, all that is that's the Scooby-Doo meme. That's, the villain at the end of the Scooby-Doo show when you take off the mask and find out who they really are. This looks like Abdul Carter is going to go to the Philadelphia Eagles if we draft him. But when you take off the mask, what it really looks like is, I want the Titans to draft quarterback. Okay, that's fine. If you want to be on team draft quarterback, I don't think that's crazy. I don't think it's insane to want a quarterback. I don't think it's insane for the Titans to draft a quarterback, number one. I don't think it's nuts. But to try to act like Abdul Carter being a fan of the Philadelphia Eagles means he's worse of an option at number one than one of the quarterbacks is just asinine. That's all that matters at the end of the day. It's an insane argument to make. It's an insane piece of evidence to try to present to the jury. And it's being thrown out by me, the judge of all takes and all things Titans. But with that being said, that is going to do it for our conversation on Abdul Carter and the pass rush. I do want to talk about some topical, timely news as Aaron Rodgers, who I just talked about this week, will officially part ways with the New York Jets. Do want to let you guys know that today's episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. Football season may be over, but basketball is in full swing. Go Lakers. And there's no better way to stay in the game than with Prize Picks, the best place for daily fantasy sports. With Prize Picks, you just pick more or less on at least 2-player projections. And if you're right, you can win up to 1,000 times your cash. This week, I'm looking at maybe Jason Tatum for more than 29 points. Luka Doncic for more than 6 assists. The best part, Prize Picks is quick and easy. You can set your lineup in less than 60 seconds. They have fast and secure withdrawals. You can get your winnings in as little as 15 minutes. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use the code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONNFL for $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. It's Prize Picks. Run your game. fans, let's cap off today's edition of the Locked On Titans podcast. We've talked about why I think the pass rush is actually the quickest way to turn the Tennessee Titans around as a franchise. We talked about why it's silly to think Abdul Carter being a fan of the Eagles makes him a worse pick for the Titans. But now I want to talk about a quarterback option. And I know that we've talked a ton about veteran quarterback options lately, and I've talked a ton about Aaron Rodgers. But on Thursday, the New York Jets officially put out a statement saying that they will be parting ways with Aaron Rodgers. Now, they said parting ways. They didn't say that they were going to release him. They didn't say that they were going to trade him. But they said that they plan to part ways. And now, immediately, what the Jets are going to do is they're going to see if anybody would trade for Aaron Rodgers. Can they get a draft pick back? Somebody to take his salary on, all of that. Is that possible? What they're going to find out quickly is no, that's not possible. Nobody's giving a draft pick up for 41-year-old Aaron Rodgers, and nobody wants to pay Aaron Rodgers $37 million in his salary next year. Nobody's doing that. The Titans shouldn't do that. That shouldn't be the move going forward. I like Aaron Rodgers as an option for the Titans, but in no way whatsoever do I want to trade anything of value or anything at all. I'm not trading the Tennessee Titans washing machine for Aaron Rodgers. Quite frankly, I'm not doing a trade of any kind for any veteran bridge quarterback, whether that be Aaron Rodgers, Derek Carr, Matthew Stafford, Jesus Christ himself. I don't care. I'm not trading for a veteran quarterback. That's not what the Titans should do at this stage and where they are as an organization. So I'm not doing that. No one else is going to do that. That is not going to happen. So what's going to happen is the New York Jets are going to have to release Aaron Rodgers, and they're going to have to do it in a timely manner, probably sometime within the next 3 weeks. And once they do that and he hits the open market, the question becomes, does Aaron Rodgers want to play football again next year? And if Aaron Rodgers' answer is yes, I do want to play football next year, then the answer the Titans should give when they are asked, should we get Aaron Rodgers, is yes, because he makes all the sense in the world as a bridge quarterback for the Titans. I have continued to pound the table that what the Tennessee Titans cannot do is either trade draft capital for a veteran quarterback, and they cannot give out big-time money for a veteran quarterback like Sam Darnold. Or if another quarterback comes available that can maybe command a salary in that range, the Tennessee Titans can simply not do that. They are not in a win-now situation. They are not a win-now team. And going out and trading a draft pick for Matthew Stafford or going out and signing Sam Darnold to a $40 million per year contract is something that a win-now team would do that's ready to win, thinks their roster's ready to win, and they're a quarterback away. The Tennessee Titans are far from a quarterback away, and that is why at the beginning of the show, my argument was the Titans need to bolster the pass rush if they want to win as quick as possible and improve as quick as possible, because just simply adding a quarterback is simply not going to be enough to turn things around. And the Titans defense is something you can build on more. So when you think about Aaron Rodgers and you say, okay, I don't want to trade anything for him, well, he's going to be released. And you think, I don't want to give up anything that's punitive in the future, whether that be future draft capital or a financial commitment to a quarterback that won't make sense in a year. The one thing that avoids all of that is Aaron Rodgers, because Aaron Rodgers obviously isn't going to make a long-term multi-year commitment because he's probably going to retire after the season. If it is his last season at all, he may retire anyway. So Aaron Rodgers isn't going to expect nor command a long-term agreement from any team that he signs with. Not only that, but he could still potentially be a bridge guy to go with your young rookie quarterback if you decide to get a rookie quarterback. Not only that, but Aaron Rodgers, while not being the best version of Aaron Rodgers, you look at what he was able to do at the back half of the season last year, you look at the statistics that he put up, Aaron Rodgers is still an average starting quarterback in the NFL, even at his age. So whether you want to bring back Will Levis, whether you want to draft a rookie quarterback number 1 overall, bringing in Aaron Rodgers makes a ton of sense because, again, you don't have to make a long-term financial commitment. It gives you flexibility to still add a young player, whether you keep Levis around, you add a rookie quarterback, or if you don't want to add a quarterback at all and you want to add a rookie quarterback next year, Aaron Rodgers isn't going to prevent you from doing so. So you keep your draft capital, you keep your financial flexibility, you keep your ability to mentor a young quarterback or whatever you want to do with the other quarterback spot on the roster. And I know some people are concerned about Aaron Rodgers' personality, but I don't think that the Aaron Rodgers we saw at the end of his Green Bay tenure and the beginning of his Jets tenure is the Aaron Rodgers that we're going to get if he comes to Tennessee for his final season. I think we're going to see a peaceful Aaron Rodgers that isn't interested with controlling the organization. I think Aaron Rodgers would openly court not having control. I think Aaron Rodgers would like to just be part of a system and part of a team and part of an organization. He knows that he's not going to win a Super Bowl if he plays for the Titans in the last year of his career. So instead of being so gung-ho about doing things his way, having the offense his way, signing former players that he likes to play with, instead of doing all that, Aaron Rodgers would kind of just want to enjoy the process, play football, be as competitive as possible, maybe mentor a young guy to repair his public relations image. I think that Aaron Rodgers, from a personality standpoint, would be totally different in his final season with the Tennessee Titans than he would be in his last years at Green Bay and his early tenure with the New York Jets, because simply his mindset and his expectations and his goals would be different this year than they had the last couple of seasons. Maybe that's a little optimistic by me. And if somebody wanted to respond and say, Tyler, to think that Aaron Rodgers would ever act differently regardless of the situation is naive, I would tell you that that would be fair. Maybe I am being naive because I think the other parts of his fit with the Titans make so much sense. Now, again, I have said this. I have heard that Aaron Rodgers is not an option for the Tennessee Titans and that they would not be interested. I would say, okay, that's perfectly fine if that's how they feel, but who's the other option? Because right now, you look, Sam Darnold, I don't want to make that future financial commitment. One of the rookie quarterbacks, I'd be okay with that. But is Brian Callahan really going to try to save his job with a rookie quarterback? Especially, I think Cam Ward is the only guy worthy of going with the number one pick in the draft. I think Shedeur Sanders isn't even going to go in the top 10 at this point. We're starting to see, the feelings there and the reality there kind of bear out that he's more of a EJ Manuel, Kenny Pickett range. So if Cam Ward is the only real quarterback option at number one overall, that's fine. But Cam Ward is kind of a gung-ho gunslinger, and that's what Will Levis was too. I'm not saying that their games are exactly similar, but I'm saying they do have some similar worries when it comes to their game and their hero ball and their ability to put, the ball in harm's way at the end of the day. So is Brian Callahan really going to try to save his job with Cam Ward when I think Shedeur Sanders is a better fit? I have questions. So if it's not one of the rookies in the draft and it's not Sam Darnold, who is a better option than Aaron Rodgers? Kirk Cousins, Russell Wilson? Derek Carr doesn't look like he's going to become available. I thought that Derek Carr would become available and Aaron Rodgers wouldn't, and it might be the other way around. So if there's no Derek Carr on the menu, now you have Aaron Rodgers, Kirk Cousins, Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson isn't a very good fit for what Brian Callahan wants to do with the precision timing passing. It's never been Russell Wilson's game. Kirk Cousins could do that, but after watching his velocity dip last year and his mobility crater last year, you think he's going to improve? I know that, 2 years away from the injury, people usually get better, but he's still 37 years old. And if the Atlanta Falcons are getting rid of Kirk Cousins because they want to go to Michael Penix, why would the Titans think that Kirk Cousins is anything more than a backup quarterback at this stage in his career? So, again, Russell Wilson, not a fit. I think Aaron Rodgers is a better player than Kirk Cousins. If Brian Callahan's trying to save his job and get some wins, you go pass rush early in the draft and you bring in Aaron Rodgers. And I think that gives you the best opportunity to maximize wins in 2025 while also setting yourself up better for the future and after that. I know that not everybody agrees, but again, looking at all the options available and what the smartest path forward is, if you don't want the Titans to draft a quarterback, there are realities that you have to accept. If you're screaming at your screen right now, just draft a quarterback, just draft a quarterback, just draft a quarterback, I acknowledge that and I respect that opinion. I just don't think that that's the right thing for the Titans to do. And outside of that, if I told you that the Titans are not drafting a rookie quarterback, what would be the best option? And to me, at this point in time, it's Aaron Rodgers. But with that being said, that's going to do it for me today, folks. That's going to do it for this week of Locked On Titans. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure that you get subscribed. Stay subscribed. As always, I am your host, Tyler Rowland, and this was Locked On Titans.